So guess what? What is the true cause of heart disease? Everything. Everything. You lose somebody in your life and you go through a stressful moment, a stressful week, a stressful year, that's going to wreck your health, including jacking your cholesterol and your blood pressure. You guys ever hear white coat syndrome? You go to the doctor, right? He shows up with his staff and they're going to take your blood pressure, which is a totally appropriate thing. You should be doing it in a medical office. And it's 190 over 95. That's a pretty high number, by the way, according to medical.
It's anxiety from seeing the doctor.
Exactly. It's anxiety. So the anxiety is developed from what? I don't know. Maybe you had a bad experience at the doctor. Maybe somebody told you something about the doctor that you weren't going. Who knows?
In my case, sometimes just trying to get to the office is stressful. You know, you're running out of time. You know, you're parking. You gotta get there. You know, depending on where you're going. Sometimes, and then when they sit there doing the blood work. I'm sorry, not the blood work. The
like the cuff?
Yeah, the cuff.
Yeah.
You sit there and you
start thinking.
Yeah, you worked up. Get yourself worked up.
Yeah, and you're thinking, what is he going to find on here? He or she, your physician. So your physician looks at your numbers and goes, oh boy. Then you're feeling like, uh-oh, did I do something wrong? You know, and then he's looking at me or she's looking at me like I'm a halfway citizen because my blood pressure's high, my cholesterol is up. Really? Ask your physician just once if you got a pair of nuts in your pants. Ask them, do you take any of these pills? What do you think they're going to say? Oh, no, because I don't work a lot. I have a lot of downtime. I have a lot of time at my church, a lot of spiritual time. Bullshit. If you're a medical doctor working in a medical environment, you're working your ass off.
Yeah.
So are you taking these pills or are you not? I know it's different. I don't like when people come into my office and tell me what to do either. I don't think anybody would. But in reality, ask sometimes, do you take this stuff? Do your children take this stuff? Okay, well then why am I taking it? Well, we don't have that problem. Are you sure? Because how do you know I have the problem? You've known me for 5 minutes. Now you're going to put me on a medication.
Absolutely.
Try to think about, medication's important. I don't want you to think that you shouldn't take medication, but that shouldn't be the first thing you do, right?
You know, I just talked about this in another video of mine, and I just think that they don't know you. They just want to toss out some medications to see how it works for yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. I'm going to shut the heat off. But I agree wholeheartedly, and I think this, right? That if I said to you, Mike, my blood pressure's been a little bit higher than normal, and now you know me, and you're like, well, doc, have you gotten your prescription filled for your drugs? I don't think I'm going to hear that from Mike. You know what he's going to say to me? Well, Pete, have you been working out? Have you been doing some exercise each day? Have you been working on your goals? Have you been spending time with the people that you love? Are you working on your diet to make sure that you're eating foods that are really filled with nutrition? Is that what you're doing? You go, huh? No, I'm spending time at the bar, stressed out, eating bar food and drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it. What's the mechanism of that to cause the heart? It's not even worthy of talking about. You just know that that's not the thing you ought to be doing. So what do most people do when they go to the doctor? Can you give me a few months to get my shit together? Doctor says, I'll give you 2 months. We'll see you in 2 months. Make sure you're doing well. 2 months, what happens? You're 15 pounds heavier. You've been stressed out over the appointment in the first place. Yeah. You show up, your blood pressure's 200 over 1,000, and he's like, oh my God, prep him for surgery. It's like, what? We're stressed out. I already know this, that most of what people suffer from, including cardiovascular stuff, it's stress-induced, number one. Number one, not number two, not number three, not number four. Number one, number one, number one, number one, number one. The quickest way to change your shit takes me 2 seconds. I put a gun to your head, and I walk into the room, stress goes through the roof. Your blood pressure jacks, your hormones kick in, your whole body's out of whack from this. Somebody just doing this to you. They're not gonna pull the trigger, but it's there. You're scared shitless. It's the stress of our lives which murder our bodies. And if we can handle that first, then we can begin to start eating well. We can walk on a consistent basis, drink a lot of water, but more importantly than anything else, the relationships that you forge with other people is either going to drag you into the depths of the abyss, or it's going to bring you up. It just depends on who you choose to be with. You screwed up and found me. What the hell was that?
Yeah, I'm still fine.
Said Glenn, good job of that. Still screwed up.
But yeah, so eating eggs, you okay?
Yeah, I eat eggs all the time.
So
how many do you eat? Bunch. It's like, are there other things that I eat that aren't good for me? Yeah. Are there things that I eat that are good for me? Yep. It's a balancing act, right? It's a balancing act. But I can tell you this, I think that some people, right? Some people just don't do very well with stress, and that's their killer. Other people can handle stress really well, but they have other bad habits that they invest in, like drugs, alcohol, and bad food. And they're very sedentary and they don't want to get out. Okay, so You know, which is it? If you look back at George Burns, if you're old enough to know George Burns, because he was old, 102, the guy smoked cigars every 3 seconds of his life. How come he didn't die of that when he was 70? How the hell do I know? Maybe the guy's attitude was incredible. Maybe he had a zest and a love for life that kept secreting these amazing hormones out of your brain like oxytocin and dopamine, serotonin. These are the best damn chemicals you can imagine. Human heroin, that's another term for them. They feel fantastic. Sorry, heroin people out there are sensitive. I didn't mean to say that from that perspective. Just that you understand the impact. It's powerful. It makes you feel incredible when these are released. If you were at the Christmas holiday season, you spent some time with people you love, whether it was your kids or your animals or whatever, anybody that you wanted to be around, you're secreting these hormones which are heart protective. They help the body to fight cancer. They help re-regulate blood sugar. That's the world that you live in. That's what you've chosen in life. And how do you feel now? Man, I feel fantastic. Yes. Now, let's throw a wrench in there. Let's say that somebody that's been your best friend for 20 years dies of a condition. It's sudden and you didn't see it coming. It has a major impact upon you and now your emotions are really, really down. You think you're going to sleep well that night? No. You think you're going to shit well every week? No. And you watch and see everything start to change. It's getting worse and worse and worse. How come? Stressed out. So it's got to be both. If you can't control your emotional system and your stress, then there's really a limited chance of you doing all the things that we know are good for us in the physical realm to make a difference. This is why your doctor would say, well, have you been walking? Yeah, I walk 3 miles a day. Okay, good. For how long? Every day since I saw you last time. How about your diet? Well, I'm eating really well. Good. And how's things at home? Fine. How's your job? What do you mean, How many hours do you work? 45 hours a week. You spend 45 hours working in an environment that causes you significant stress. Yes. But other than that, everything else is normal and I feel great. No, people die at work because of stress. Stress is the killer. But when it comes to eggs, as you mentioned, people at home, listen, you want to eat eggs? Eat the freaking eggs. It's not going to kill anybody. But those eggs, unfortunately, are bastardized by everybody and his brother who's out there. But there's no evidence to that. That choline inside the yolk, good for you. It's supposed to be good for you. And it will be good for you when you eat it. By the way, 25%, that's a lot of cholesterol, is where in your body? Is it in your toes? No. Is it in your kidneys? No. Is it in your brain? Yep. 25% of all cholesterol lives in your brain. You have a fat head, a fat brain. You're supposed to. How come?
I have an extra fat head.
You got an extra fat head. Plus you've got that 4-inch cranium with that really small brain in there, the size of a kiwi fruit. But it doesn't matter. Even that kiwi fruit brain of yours is still loaded with fat. It's a fat head. You are made of fat. All the cholesterol in your body, not all, 25% of it rushes to your brain. Why? Because the cholesterol is part of the brain's matrix and it heals the brain, especially after concussion and injury. And you know about fish oils. What are those? They're fats. You're putting fat into the brain. Cholesterol is a basic fat. It's supposed to be there. When does it become a problem? When you eat trans fats, omega-6 trans fats. And where do you get those bad fats? Any restaurant you want to go to.
Yeah.
Restaurants are the ones that are killing you. You stay away from the restaurant. Listen, if
Did
you
you
did,
have French fries today?
I did. It was fantastic. I did. I can have French fries whenever I want.
Right.
Of course, I had about that much. But if you have that much, then you probably ate too much of them. But are the French fries cooked in omega-6 fats, trans fats that aren't good for you? Yeah, probably. I recognize that. I didn't have to eat them, but I could blow them off if I wanted to. The thing is, just be informed. Be informed about what you're doing.
Right.
And I think if you're informed, you're halfway there, right?
Right. The information. You need the information.
Yeah, you need to know. Even in rants like these, they go on. You can chop this up into a million pieces. Do it on 10 minutes a clip. It's too long now. It doesn't matter. It's just the chance to sit down with somebody who'll tell you the damn truth.
That's all we want.
And I think it's important that people know. Can you eat bacon and eggs? Well, that's going to kill you. No, it isn't. Did you know in Gascon, France, Gascon, Gascon, France, their cholesterol levels are 3 times higher than the men, anyway, because that's what they looked at. The men's cholesterol levels in France is 3 times higher than ours. But they don't have cardiovascular disease like we do. But they eat fat, pate, they eat bread, they drink alcohol, they smear it with goose liver. Everything they eat is like fat. Why don't they die? Because they don't. Because there's more to it than that. There's way more to it than that. Matter of fact, have you ever heard of, what's his name? Oh my God, spit it out, Pete. He's I can't even think of his name. I'll think of it in a second. Anyway, World War II, he provides the K rations. Okay. Ansel Keys. Ansel Keys is a guy that goes out by the U.S. government after our president in the 1950s, which was Eisenhower. he had a heart attack when he was in office. It was pretty concerning. A lot of people wanted to know what's going on. And the rates of heart attack were elevating in America back in the 50s, post-war. Do you think there's any stress post-war and in the early redevelopment of the 1950s? Of course there is. This massive stress. What happens to our president? He has a heart attack and survives it. President Eisenhower had a heart attack when he was in office. So Ansel Keys has been drafted by the United States of America to go out and figure out why it's happening. So, but he was already working on this in England the 2 years prior, and he watched the English eat, and they ate nothing but fat and fried foods. So he blamed their cardiovascular problem on that, and he wanted to prove it to the world, so he went out to do the 22-country study, to look at 22 different countries, what their diet was like, and to be able to simply prove, not to investigate, but to prove the fact that these people were eating fat, and that was causing their demise. But he was wrong. By the way, what was the name of Ansel Keys' study? It was called the 7-country study. But he went out to talk to 22. What happened to the other 15 countries? Oh, they didn't fit. And especially Holland. The eastern side of Holland, all fat. The western side of Holland, all fat. Guess what? Only half of them on one side die of heart attack and disease. What? How can that be? It's cholesterol. No, it's a human. It's a human. If you were on the east side of Berlin and the west side of Berlin, two different sides during the wall, right? What you develop is associated not with simply what you eat, but the environment that you ate it in. That's the key. Now they say the French don't get cardiovascular disease like we do here. Why is that? Because they drink a lot of wine. Sorry, folks, not the answer. The metabolic syndrome, which is diabetes and heart disease, which you and I know very well. What is it that drives that? Well, it's stress. Yeah, it is. Okay. So when we eat in America, how fast do you eat? This quick. You eat fast, you don't think about the food that you eat, you just, and you gotta go somewhere. I gotta go to work, it's my lunchtime, here I go. But by the way, I'm online, and I'm doing shit, and I'm ordering from Amazon, and I'm answering these emails while I'm eating. And then after you eat, you don't even know you ate. But your stomach is like, what the hell is that? Your brain is a mess, dude. Slow the hell down and eat comfortably and spend time in this moment. Stuck here. That's what the French do. They stay in the moment. They sit around a table, and they put this to the test with the metabolic syndrome biomarkers to find out who is sick. Americans are them. They're not sick, we are. Island of Crete, which is a southern, an island off of southern Greece. In a 10-year study, everybody in the study had a cholesterol above 300. No fatalities in 10 years. How can that be? You want to live in Crete, or do you want to live in Boston, Mass? It's just a weird question, right?
It is a great question.
But the reality is that Crete is a place where people have a different lifestyle than here in America. So their lifestyle is just as much in play as the actual complement of how much cholesterol is in their food and diet. It's like, holy shit. Who's going to tell you this? No one. Because it don't make money. You want to make money? Get in the cardiovascular business. And I'm sorry out there, if you're a medical doctor and you're into your stuff, I get it. You're probably going to see the late stage stuff when people are really struggling now. We need you, trust me. We need you to provide stents, to do, open heart surgeries, to do all the work that you do, which is absolutely miraculous and incredible as it is. But in reality, if we could teach people how to be more responsible with their emotions and with their diet and with their whole lifestyle, we'd be more like the Cretans. Hey, what do you know, Cretan? Just saying. Just a Cretan. He's like, this guy's a freaking nut job. But then again, it takes one to know one.
That's right, buddy.
Yep.
So on that note, Baldadonis out.
Ciao.